Here we are again. Saturday morning for me. You might be here live with me. You might be watching this at another time. My name is Karen, coming to you from Vermont, where it is pouring rain, not snowing, shockingly. And today we are going to work on the power of simple. So sometimes we get caught up in the fancy stuff with yoga. I don't often, because my body doesn't do all of it. But half moon and arm balances and headstands and that sort of thing, and that is awesome. It's great aspirations. If you can do them, it's really wonderful. Can be really wonderful for your body and your blood flow in your mind. But you can also achieve quite a bit by keeping things simple. So what we'll do today is utilize or apply very simple practices and poses, and we'll stay in them a little bit longer than we might otherwise. Nothing fancy. If there are things that are very challenging for you, keep trying them. If they're painful, don't do them. You can adjust or move to something else. Props are our friend. So if you don't have blocks or something like that at home, feel absolutely free to use pillows, bed pillows, couch cushions, whatever it might be. Sometimes even like a plastic container with a lid you can flip upside down and use for your hands. So the simplest pose that does not work for everyone, because no pose does, is the seated meditative pose. Now, if you cross your legs very habitually in the same way, uncross them and cross them the other way. If it's difficult for you to sit up straight, you might sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, or maybe you put your back against a wall. Put your back against the wall. Dance. Come on. And then we round in with the sitting bones, and we rise up from the pelvis all the way to the crown of the head. And your arms, it depends on what feels right for you. I like to take the actual meditative mudra with the back of the right hand in the palm of the left and the tips of the thumbs touching. Other people feel better with the arms on the knees or thighs, maybe taking a mudra there as well. And other people feel better with the hands on their thighs. In this posture, we take the opportunity to do our breath work, our pranayama. So we're going to do box breathing today. It is not the simplest breath practice. I think the simplest breath practice is the cleansing breath, but it sort of starts to hone the mind into the here and now. So the idea is we breathe in for 4, we hold it for 4, we breathe out for 4, we hold for 4. And we're going to keep it at a count of 4 rather than increasing, so we keep it simple. Shoulders away from your ears, nice long spine. And we begin breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Retain, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Retain, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Breathe out. And hold. We're going to take 3 more times. Breathe in. Retain. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Retain. Exhale. And hold. Last time, breathe in. Hold it. Breathe out. And hold. Deep breath in through the nose. Let it out the mouth. Take that again. One more time. And a natural breath. See what might have taken place in your body through that. Maybe for just like the little sliver of a second, your mind had nothing in it except the focus on the breath. How cool. All right, we're going to take a little opening moves to start with here in our seats. So drop your hands by your sides, shrug your shoulders up to your ears, round them behind you, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then release on an out breath. We take that again up, back, down, up, back, and down. Press the fingertips of both hands into the ground, like your little spidey legs. So we can sit up even taller. We'll float the left arm high, but we're going to stay there for a moment. I'm going to press the right fingertips into the earth, the ankles into the earth, the sitting bones into the earth, head, shoulders, knees and toes. But you feel the stretch from the left hip all the way up to the left pinky finger. Breathe in, and then we'll tilt over to the right, bending the right elbow. Some of you might have more stretch, so you could scoot your fingertips out to the right or maybe bring your forearm down. I don't have that much stretch. You also want to watch the right side of the body. You don't really want to squish everything there, so you want to see if that rounding can be more like a nice wide circle. We'll rise up, left arm high, and then the right arm will meet it. And let the arms sink into the shoulders. We'll stay here for a moment. Belly in, spine strong. I'm going to turn the palms outward and then drop the arms left and right so you're in a T. Really work the triceps. Let the palms face upward. Feel the movement of the shoulder girdle, maybe the triceps and biceps. Hands face down or back. Palms face up. Hands face down or back. Palms up. Hands down or back. And then we drop the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers if you can, or you could hook the fingers, or you could just press the backs of the hands or the heels of the hands to the low back. Whichever you do, you're going to work to move the hands downward to lengthen the arms, opening up the collarbones. I think it's like a big smile, but if your belly, like mine, just kind of shot forward a little bit, draw it in and up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. We're going to take a fold here, taking our time, hinging at the hips, maybe a little rounding in the spine, and perhaps if your hands are bound, they lift off your spine, nod your head, shake your head, rise back up, release the hands, shake out your arms, shake out your head, take some helicopter moves with the arms. All right, we're going to take our tilt on the other side. So finger tops onto the ground. This time the right arm lifts. We really attach the sitting bones to the earth and lift the crown of the head all the way from the pelvis to the crown of the head to the right fingertips, all the way to the sky. Breathe in and tilt to the left, making an arch with the right rib cage, maybe crawling the left hands out. Watch your knee. Your right knee might want to spring up like so many sponge cakes. going to rise back up again. Draw the palms together. Bend your elbows, fingertips come behind the neck or between the shoulder blades. Press your head back. I feel like I might be shifted a little bit, so I'm just going to work to find as straight a spine as possible. Interlace the fingers, press the palms to the back of the head. Open up the elbows. Now take a twist to the right. You won't go far probably, because you don't want to twist the hips. Inhale, front and center, and exhale, twist the other way. And inhale, front and center. This time when we twist to the right, we will then dip our left elbow toward the right knee. It doesn't have to touch. Squeeze the low ribs toward your hips. Rise back up to the center. Exhale, twist to the left. Dip that right elbow toward the left knee. Again, squeeze the rib cage toward the hips. Rise back up, front and center. We're going to take another round. Twist to the right. Dip the left elbow. Rise back to center. Twist and dip the elbow. Rise back up. I'm going to drop the arms behind us once again. If you interlaced or hooked your fingers, see if you can do it the awkward way this time. We're going to draw the knuckles down toward the earth. Squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the heart. Maybe drop the head back. And again, we'll hinge at the hips, working toward a long spine to start. And then dropping the head. We're going to do a little test of our hammies by stretching the legs in front of us. So you can remain on your cushion or pillow or blanket, whatever you might be sitting on. I'm just going to do a little testing to see how the hammies feel. I'm going to bend the knees, lift the heart a lot, reach the arms in front, and then lock them back into your shoulders. The pinky sides of the feet love to go forward. We want to keep drawing them backward toward the armpits. So keeping the heart nice and high, we're going to shift forward on a breath out as if our fingers and our heart could go past our toes. Breathe in and shift again. Inhale and shift. And we'll take one more time. We shift and maybe the hands drop down, maybe the legs extend a little bit more. If you happen to reach your feet, maybe you can help your pinky toes come toward your armpits. Rise back up to your seat. Now find your way into child's pose. If you'd like to use a prop for that, absolutely feel free. If you have a big bolster or a couch cushion, that can be really super helpful. I'm going to use wide knees. I'm going to use the pillow for my belly. In the fullest expression of this posture, the arms are straight in front, but sometimes that doesn't work for your shoulders. So feel free to bend the elbows and let the middle fingers or the index fingers touch. But you don't want to be lifted up off the earth. So
If your head still has trouble getting to the ground, place something underneath it, which could be, frankly, your hands. Let the breath roll up and down the spine. Imagine it's like moving along as a roller coaster would on its track. And this track has some little bumpy parts, our spine knuckles, if you will. But let that roller coaster of breath move all the way up behind the head. And on the exhale, all the way down and out the tailbone. Now imagine the breath moves left to right across your low back, your sacrum. And then right to left. So maybe on the inhale, it's left to right, and on the exhale, it's right to left. Notice if that allows your sitting bones to come closer to your hips. Sorry, your sitting bones to come closer to your heels. At least they both start with H. We're going to work that rib cage a bit more in a side stretch to make more space for our lungs and therefore for the air that we breathe. You're going to bring your arms straight forward, lift up the wrists and the forearms, breathe in. As you exhale, crawl the hands over to the left, maybe all the way off the mat. Your head's going to drop again. You really don't want the sitting bones to move from their original spot. That's going to stretch the armpit a bit more. It's going to make space between the ribs and your rib cage, front, side, and back. It might stretch your triceps a bit. Crawl your way to front and center, and then to the other side. Crawl your way to front and center. We're going to work a little bit on opening up the quads in what is hopefully a simple pose. You're going to find your way all the way onto your belly. And stretch out. Bring your left ear to the mat, and your arms can come out a little left and right. Spread your feet as wide as your mat, and then bend your knees. Try to reach your buttocks with your heels. You might feel this in your glutes. If you do not feel it in your quads, if the quads are not stretching, bring your forehead to the mat, bring your hands under your shoulders, and take a little cobra. Oh yeah. Come all the way down to the mat. Turn your right ear to the mat. Drop your feet. Maybe you open and close your toes here. Take ankle circles. Both directions. Drop your feet, bring your forehead to the mat again, and bend your knees. Draw the heels toward your seat. And if you're not getting much quad stretch here, more thigh stretch, bring your hands under your shoulders or just outside your chest and press into
a little back bend. Forehead down, feet down, come back into a child's pose. Walk your hands back. Bring your toes apart and your knees apart so everything is as wide as your bony hips. And then you might sink your seat back a little bit. It probably won't come all the way to your heels. And place the backs of the hands on the ground. Now this can be a really hard one because the outer wrists love to move out to right and left. But if possible, we want them pointing forward. And we give a little movement or maybe a rock forward and backward, working the outer wrists toward the mat. The palms then come to the mat, and we point them right and left, or maybe more toward the knees. Same gig here. As much as possible, the inner wrist pointing forward. Not doable for many people, including me. Just getting a bit of that stretch moving. Now, lots of people find that the vinyasa itself, that movement of that flow of poses, is actually complicated. And some of that is due to the push-up, some of that is due to the back bend, and some of that is due to other things. So we're going to work it so that it's your choice in the vinyasa, whether you take the low push-up and the back bend, or whether you go right to downward dog from the high plank. But we're going to start by coming to the back of the mat. So if your feet are not closer to the back of your mat, maybe you crawl backward a little bit. Tuck your toes under. Lift the hips. And then walk your hands back to a forward fold at the back of your mat. You can take any bind here, maybe a ragdoll, maybe a yogi toe lock, maybe your gorilla. Whatever you do, the aim is to press into the earth, to stretch the legs and push the hips toward the sky, rather than using a fold at the waist to send the hips high. If that makes sense. Nod your head, shake your head, open and close your mouth. Release your hands, take a half lift. So hands might come to your shins or to blocks or to the ground. And we're taking extra breaths here to feel the belly get long. The sitting bones reach back, the shoulders reach toward the sitting bones. Nice long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, unravel to stand. Arms will lift up overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart, Samasthihi. Hands drop again, lift wide and high. This time, exhale, soften your knees, forward fold. Halfway lift. This can be pretty aerobic if you want to move quickly. Forward fold, rise to stand, arms overhead. Samasthihi. And one last time, drop the hands, reach overhead, soften the knees as the hands come through the heart. And you fold at the hips, reaching the hips toward the sky.
Rise back up.
This time we're going to make our way to the front of the mat. And it might feel like arms overhead, hands to your heart. It might feel like this is complex, and it's actually not super complex, and you don't have to do the whole thing. But the idea is to shift onto the right foot and lift the left knee. Lengthen. I'm not focusing. Lengthen your left leg and step the foot forward. Lift the right knee. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. Sit down in a chair. Yes, it's a balance, so it's a little less simple than some of the other stuff we've been doing, but not overly so. Right knee comes up, leg lengthens, step forward, left knee lifts. Cross the ankle above the right knee, sink down into your right knee. Lift the left leg, extend it, step forward, and then step the right forward into a chair with your hands at your heart. We're going to work a little low back here. So your feet are best at bony hip distance, maybe a little bit wider. Your tailbone's tucked a little bit. And float the arms in front and lock them back into the shoulders again. So you want to think about how wide is the chest, how open is the collarbone, or are the collarbones. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw, like we did when we were seated, draw the low ribs toward the hips and reach forward, rounding the spine. You're staying in the chair. And then we come back to the chair with the arms in front. We take it again, breathe out, squeeze the ribs toward the hips, tuck that tailbone. We're stretching out our low back. Come back up, and we're strengthening the belly to help with the back later on. One more time. Squeeze, reach forward. Woo-wee. This time we'll rise up to stand and exhale, hands at your heart. Feel free to shake it out. That's a good one. Doing that against a wall is really terrific for your low back, especially if you have L3, L4, L5 kinds of issues. So now we're going to move through a modified vinyasa, but if you like, you can guide yourself through the whole thing. So the modified is we stand tall, arms overhead, forward fold, halfway lift, forward fold, step to high plank, go to down dog, versus the step to high plank, the low plank, the back bend, and the downward dog. So sweep the arms overhead, exhale, forward fold, halfway lift, long spine, breathe out, forward fold, step back, high plank. Your choice to stay here or go into the low plank in the back bend, and we meet in downward facing dog. Pedal it out. I mean, seriously, the most basic posture other than seated is down dog, right? Kids do it pretty naturally. Rise up to the tiptoes, bend your knees, look to your hands, walk to them, take your forward fold once again. Rise to stand. This time we'll clasp the hands overhead and then reverse the palms toward the sky. We'll take our little teapot approach on the right, up, and our little teapot approach. We're going to poach an egg in our teapot on the left. Rise up, forward fold, halfway lift, forward fold. Some people might go right to downward dog from here. I'll go to high plank. Others might go to low, into the back bend, and we return to downward dog. Beautiful. All right, we're keeping it simple. Come back to the front of your mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Left foot to the back of the mat. Runner's lunge. We're going to stay here for a little bit. So if you need blocks or something, place them under your hands. You want to bring the floor as close to you as possible. That back leg is super strong. The right knee is directly above the right ankle. It loves to move outward. Shoulders away from the ears. Breathe. Draw the belly energy away from your thigh. Use the whole front foot. Press the left heel back. You might move your fingers or hands forward just a couple of inches. Tap your back knee and then extend that leg. Tap your back knee. Extend. Tap. Extend. Breathe out. Breathe in. Tap. We're taking 3 more. Extend. Lengthen. 2. Tap. Extend and lengthen. This time we tap down and we remain there, untucking our toes. Moving into a twist, maybe with a prop under your left hand. That right arm unravels nice and high. Or the heel of the hand comes to the low back, or you take a half bind, whatever works for you. You want to keep that right knee straight forward and straight above your right ankle. So as you breathe in, lengthen the spine forward, press the big toe mound into the mat, and then as you breathe out, keep pressing the big toe mound as you twist. Ah, it feels so good. And drop the right hand. We are going to come back to a tabletop from here and find some cats and cows. Any other movement could join with it. Hip circles. Movement left and right. Hula hoop. We're going to find some stillness here. Tuck your toes under and send your sitting bones back toward your heels. Really push the mat forward with the heels of your hands and the pads of your fingers. Just stretch out your toes. Rise back to your tabletop. We're going to step the left foot outside the left hand. We're coming into a high crouch here. Step the right foot outside the right hand. Bend your knees. So your feet are nice and wide. Your toes are slightly out. And your forearms come to your thighs. You're welcome to bring your hands there too. Or instead, tuck the tailbone. Find some power. And then find your cat-cows. 6 of them. Or 6 rounds. Neutral spine will rise up in a 5-pointed star. We'll take a little power event. So we make fists of the fingers, but the thumbs stay out. To work the hands and the fingers, we're going to do this little sort of, I like to think of it as a flower bud exploding into bloom, like fast motion, really forced. So we breathe in and pow, spread those fingers. Make a fist and pow, spread them wide. Make a fist one more time. And go, 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 get them. Palms press overhead, hands to your heart, heel toe the feet back under your hips. And drop your arms, sweep them high, forward fold. Half lift. And a forward fold. This time the right foot shoots to the back of the mat. We set ourselves up here for balance, for power, for posture, not for posterity. I gotta find a different word for balance, so I gotta have alliteration through the whole thing. Really reach that back heel backward. Press the big toe mound of the front foot into the earth. Double check, are you using your adductors, so your inner thighs, to help keep that left knee inward. And we take all the shenanigans we did on the other side. So we're going to take 6 taps of the back knee. So tap number 1, go slow, lift your heart. Exhale, straighten that leg, peel the belly energy away from the left thigh. Tap number 2, extend. Tap that knee. Breathe out, lengthen. And 4. Really reach that back heel. No cheating. 5. Of course, I can't tell. And 6 is the final time. Untuck the toes. Right hand down. Keeping that left knee straight toward the front. We're going to peel open the left arm, take a half bind, or bring the heel of the hand to your low back. Each breath in, the spine and the heart reach forward. And each breath out, we twist. And left hand comes down to the mat. This time, we're going to heel toe the left foot out to the left and point the toes to the left. We're coming into Malasana, or prayer squat, which is not for everyone. Some people need to sit on an upright block. I prefer that you not. But if that's requisite because you have a bad back, absolutely go ahead. The reason I prefer you not is because we're working actually to strengthen the belly muscles and the thighs. So you drop your bottom as low as you can, and I promise you, if you bring your elbows inside your knees and thighs and press away to lengthen your spine, eventually you'll start to feel the bottom lower a little bit more. I do this when I'm brushing my teeth. I don't have a magic toothbrush, but I keep one hand here and the other hand on the toothbrush, brushing that side of the mouth. If you have a crow practice or a side crow practice, or you're working toward those things, you can take them here. If you have a twist or a bind, feel free to take that here. And if you find you can't stay in this posture very long, I encourage you to move to a forward fold. We will meet in a wide-legged forward fold. Woo! Heel toe the feet in. Step right to downward dog. And come into tabletop, where we will move into a back bend anahatasana, my favorite heart opener. I don't think I'm supposed to have favorites, but I do. It feels really good to keep the hips right over the knees. Press the shoelace sides of the feet to the earth. And then pad forward with the hands, kitty cat or dog, until the forehead, chin, or chest comes to the mat. You really want to ensure your hips are over your knees. If the shoulders are cranky, elbows move out and bend left and right. One elbow each. And you settle the heart down. This simple posture protects your vulnerability by having the heart facing Mother Earth. It's as if gravity winds its way upward to the heart and gives it a nice hug so you can soften even more.
down toward the earth. We'll move into a child's pose. You can move into Balasana 1 with the knees together and the top of the head on the ground. Very simple, but it helps open up the low back a little bit more than Balasana 2. This is also called bunny pose, I think, or rabbit pose. And as you rise up, place your hands back on the ground in front of you and take your right ankle, moving it behind your left hand. You can see I used my hands, feel free. So we're moving our way into pigeon, which some people might say is not simple for them. But the simple instruction is your front shin is as parallel to the front of the mat as feels okay. Your right knee should be behind your right wrist. And you shoot that left leg, I don't know if shoot's not the right word, but scoot that left leg back straight out of the hip. You might find a little back bend, a little quad stretch before you find a nice fold and stretch of the back. Maybe the head is resting on something. Be careful not to hold all the weight and energy in your shoulders. That will start to fatigue the muscles underneath your shoulder blades. And it can strain your neck. So find something, stacked hands, make fists of the hands and stack them tall, or find a little pillow. We're going to shift over onto that right hip and swing the left leg around to bring the soles of the feet, the soles of the feet together. Take a little twist here. Other side. 2 more times, right and left. And right and left. And now we lean over onto the left side to find our pigeon here. A little bit different than we did on the other side, but the same principles apply. I'm tighter on this side, so my left heel is closer to my right front hip than my right heel was to my left hip. Getting that back leg straight out of the hip, most important thing. And not injuring yourself. And we find our back bend if we like, and into the fold. Shift over onto the left hip, swing the right leg around, and then find your way all the way to your back. I'm going to go sideways for this part. Once you are on your back, your feet are as wide as your mat and your knees touch together. You may stay here, or you may find a windshield wiper kind of movement, or you might find a full twist. Wherever you go, you're going to be sure that both sides are treated equally. If
They, in fact, allow that medically. So if you do a full twist, you're going to take 3 to 5 breaths on one side and then the other. And then you'll make your spine as straight top to bottom, bottom to top as it would normally be. The knees point to the sky. You find your way into either or. Your choice of 3 things, actually. A happy baby, a hugging of the knees in, maybe with hip circles, or virtual legs up the wall, or slide over to a wall and take real legs up the wall. The feet above the head reverses the flow of blood, and this is, in fact, an inversion, regardless of which one you take. Rocking left and right feels yummy on your low back. Big breath in. Complete breath out. Find your Shavasana posture, whatever that means to you. You might sit against a wall, lie down with your knees bent, or lie down in the full expression of the posture with the palms up, space between the feet, and space between the arms and the side bodies. Big breath in. Let it go. No worries, no lists, just simply being. We are, after all, human beings, not human doings. Become aware of all the sensations in the body, the sense of touch and weight of the body against the mat, maybe the soft touch of clothing on your body, the temperature and moistness of the air, scent, taste, sounds, whatever's in your mind's eye. And make your way back to a seat. You might make a pit stop over on one side. We're going to close our practice, setting an intention for the remainder of our days. Not like all our days today. Hands to your heart. Establish what it is you will take with you off your mat today. What is the attitude? What is the aptitude? What is the behavior? What are the thoughts? What characterizes your actions? Repeat that to yourself 3 times. We'll seal all that in with the sound of an om, although if you prefer not to chant, that's okay. We'll do so first by breathing all the air out of the lungs, filling up. Thumb knuckles connect right at the center of your forehead. May you live your day today like it is no other. Namaste. Thanks to each and every one of you, and as a community, for practicing and for having the faith in me to practice with me. I hope you have a great remainder of your day, week, weekend, night, morning, whatever it is. Signing off. See you next week.